Hi, I'm Rashmi and my project topic is Redis NoSQL database. Today I'll give a demo of Redis cluster with Jedis, that is Java client for Redis. I have set up a 3-node cluster on AWS EC2. Due to time constraint, I cannot cover the installation procedure in this video. However, I have an extra video just for installation and a comprehensive report. After that, I'll show you how to create master-slave replication on Redis cluster. Finally, I'll talk about Redis mass insert protocol with Redis pipeline. Let's get started. What do you do if your data does not fit in one machine's memory? That's when Redis cluster comes into picture. Redis cluster version was released last month. It provides a way to run a Redis installation where data is automatically partitioned across multiple Redis nodes. For the demo, we will see how cluster adds records and create a simple query. This cluster has 3 nodes, and when I add keys, Redis decides based on hashing algorithm which keys belong to which node. Redis supports multiple data structures for keys like strings, hashes, lists, sets, sorted sets, bitmaps, and hyperlog logs. For the demo, we will use movie length dataset and Redis sets. We will add records to Redis and get answer to our query. User 1 has rated which movies. For sets, we have Redis commands like sadd and smembers. Sadd is used to add values to sets, and smember is for retrieving values from the set. Let's see the demo. So I have 3 EC2 instances and Redis server is running on each of them. This is one, here is the next one, and here is the last one. So, I'm going to show you some code quickly. I'm only specifying only one Redis host and port, and the client automatically discovers the other nodes in the cluster. And this is where I add the values, that is key and the values. And this is my Redis client, and there are no keys loaded right now. Key space is empty. Key space is empty for this one as well. Key space is empty for this one as well. So we're going to go ahead and run the code so that it adds some records from the ratings.csv. So 122 keys added, 187, 295. So now if I want to retrieve user 1 has rated which movies, so I can just type here smembers u:1:m. Now it gives an error which says it is moved to this particular host and port. So we are going to go here and ask for the same thing, smembers. And here it gives us all the movies that is rated by user 1. So this kind of seems clunky, but it is not so clunky in the client side if I run a Java code for it. So let's see the Java code for the query. So it's fairly simple Java code. There is only I'm only specifying one host and one port, and it will automatically discover other nodes in the cluster. And I'm asking for user 1 has rated which movies. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and it is giving me all the movies that is being rated by user 1. Now that's it for the Redis cluster demo, and I will talk about next is master-slave replication. Master-slave replication allows Redis servers to be exact copies of master servers. This is immensely useful in case of node failures. Replication is asynchronous because of performance concerns. It means that Redis high availability does not guarantee strong data consistency. There is always a small window for data loss. Now let's see how to set up master-slave replication. I'm going to stop the job which we were running earlier. And let's see how many keys are there. There are about 56,000 keys in my node 2, and I'm going to create a slave for the node 2. So this is my empty instance, there is nothing going on here. There is no server loaded yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing the server first. And now I'm going to go ahead and configure the slave. So we need to bind it first. By default, the bind is the local host, and I'm going to bind it to the same IP address like this one right here. Next, we need to set up the slave. So I want the slave to be set up as slave of the second node, that is this particular IP address right here. So let's set up the slave. Slave of 172.31.2.130, and the port remains the same, which 6379. Now we are going to go ahead and start the server. Okay, great. Now our server is running, and let's go ahead and check the client. See, we have basically copied the same set of keys that were on this particular node right here. So now let's see if I set a key here, set key 1, and let's say my value is my value 1, and let's try to retrieve this right here. And it is retrieving the value. This is about what master slave replication is. Next, I'll talk about Redis mass insert protocol with pipeline. Redis mass insertion. Sometimes Redis instances need to be loaded with big amount of pre-existing data so that millions of keys will be created as fast as possible. Redis doesn't have any load data from CSV like many RDBMS. Instead, you need to use Redis serialization protocol. I know this slide seems a little complicated. It is actually fairly simple. Let's see. Now the CR stands for carriage return, and LF is line feed like the \R and \N in our ASCII characters. Args is the number of argument, and length is the length of each argument. Now if you look at this particular command, set key 1 and value, there are three arguments. Set is argument 1, key 1 is argument 2, and value is argument 3. So that's why we have *3 here. And set, the length of set is $3, that is the length of set is 3, so we have $3. Then the length of key 1 is 4, so we have 4 here. And then the length of value is 5, so we have $5 here. And this is just the string representation of the same thing. Now we are again using the movie length dataset, and this time we will use Redis hashes. That is, we'll use the hmset command and hgetAll command to set the hash and to retrieve the fields from the hash. Now let's see the program. Now here is my code. It is basically reading the ratings.csv and generating this kind of format. And I have an EC2 instance here with Redis server running. And this is what my tree structure looks like. I have copied over the Java files and compiled, and there is the input file and the required jar files. So I'm going to go ahead and run this command, which basically generates the protocol. And it takes about a minute or less to run this. And let's go back to the presentation. So the next thing is pipelining. So after we run the commands, when we have all the 21 million keys in the Redis required format, we basically going to pipeline this to Redis client or server. The basic meaning of pipeline is the client can send multiple requests to server without waiting for replies at all, and finally read the replies in a single step. This improves performance drastically. Now let's go back and see if our command is done. And it is. So here is our output file, and we are going to pipe this to the Redis client. Now this is just one command which it has generated, and if you want to see two of these, it looks like this. Now I'm going to send all of this to Redis client in a pipeline mode. Now this basically is the file which has about 21 million keys, and it is pipelined to Redis client right now, and this also should take about a minute. Going back to the presentation. Now there's one more thing that I learned here is a Redis cluster and pipeline do not work together. Now the demo that I'm showing you here is a standalone EC2 instance. It's not a part of the cluster. The cluster and pipeline do not work together. So before we end this presentation, here is some fun fact. Uh, Twitter, GitHub, Stack Overflow, Pinterest, these are the big names that are using Redis right now. And here is Katy Perry. She just one of her tweets updates Redis 39 million times because she has that many followers. And I checked last time, and it was 69 million. So let's go back and check if the job is done here. And it is. See, now we have here 21 million keys that is loaded, and let's go back and check on the client side, Redis client, and if we see here, now these are the 21 million keys, and I can use here get all command, get all. Let's say if I want to retrieve user1 and movie 253, and it can give me the rating and the timestamp, and that's it. Here are the references. That's about it. Thank you very much.